My name's Sefton Hill and I'm game director at Rocksteady Studios.
Very excited, and also exciting is Batman Arkham City. The last Batman game was such a huge success. How is it to make a sequel that meets all the expectations, the high expectations?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's exciting. I mean, for us, it was kind of thinking about what do we want to do next. You know, where's the exciting place to go? What can we do with the game next? And we really felt that what we wanted to do as fans was to take the game into Gotham. You know, that's kind of always been our driving thing. Our driving force is to make a game that excites us. You know, because we're huge Batman fans ourselves. So we thought, you know, we want to take Batman into Gotham. So, you know, that was kind of the big drive. And then we got the story anyway. Basically, the story being that Warden Sharp, who was the warden of Arkham Asylum, walls off this entire area of Gotham. He becomes mayor. He runs for mayor following the events of the first game. He walls off this entire section of Gotham City and basically sets this up to be a new super prison. And then he throws everyone in there. He shuts down Arkham Island and he throws everyone in there from Arkham Island. He throws all the people from Blackgate Prison and basically kind of just says, you know, as far as he's concerned, criminals are basically, you know, they're the lowest of the low. So he doesn't care about them. He's just going to leave them to get on with it in there. And then he puts a mercenary force man in the wall and just says, as long as no one gets out, he's happy. So that was the big challenge. You know, that's the setup for the game, basically.
Sounds exciting. And except for the different storyline, of course, what are the biggest differences compared to Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of huge differences. First of all, obviously, the scale of the game. So we're looking at a game that's sort of 4 to 5 times bigger than the first game. We're making a kind of almost like an open world game, but we wanted to really make a game that was open but still really rich in detail, still had that incredible love and attention in every single street and every single element, you know, the same that you had in Arkham Island. So that was the real challenge for us, was to how can we take that attention to detail but make it on a much bigger scale. So the kind of first thing you'll notice is the level of freedom you've got to glide and go anywhere. And then in the city you have a number of different missions you can do. So you have the main storyline. We still have that main focus storyline that we had in the first game, but as well as that we have a number of side missions you can do, all about other key characters. So you can try and track down Zsasz, see what Zsasz is doing in there. You know, there's see what Riddler's up to. What's Riddler done? Riddler's taken a number of people hostage, and he's trying to get back, trying to prove that he's smarter than Batman. And the stakes are, if Riddler wins, he's going to kill these hostages. Sets up these really elaborate death traps for Batman to try and solve. So, in terms of what's new, well, you know, you've got all the options in Gotham City, the main story, all these side stories, and then the other big thing is the new navigation system. So taking the game into Arkham City, much bigger environment, much more vertical environment. So we've totally changed the way that Batman moves around. He can now grapple boost, so when he grapples up to a building, he can boost off the top of that building and dive around. He can use kind of full momentum gliding, so when you dive, you can use that momentum to fly and glide down the city streets. And it's a really cool element because the better you get at it, the more you can kind of bend your way back down the Gotham back alleyways. And when you're really good, you'll be able to cover across the whole of Arkham City without ever touching the ground. So it's great fun. You know, we lose hours to it at work just messing around with it. So, you know, I'm sure fans are going to really love it.
You've also included Catwoman in the game.
Yeah.
She looks really sexy. We just saw the trailer. What would you say? How does she come in? How do Batman and Catwoman switch in the game throughout the storyline?
Yeah, so Catwoman was a character that really interested us because she's so different from Batman. So she's kind of morally slightly ambiguous. You know, is she good? Is she bad? Really, the main rule with Catwoman is she's looking out for number one, right? She's looking out for herself. So the way you play her in the game is that the Catwoman missions are sort of seamlessly interwoven with the Batman story. So you'll switch from being Batman to being Catwoman. But the great thing is that the stories are kind of linked and they're connected. So you'll see, for example, we're showing here Catwoman actually breaking into Two-Face's old campaign office. She's trying to steal a memory card back off Two-Face, who then captures her. And then you go and play as Batman, and Two-Face is about to execute her in the courthouse. So you'll see how the stories are kind of linked between the two characters as you play. I mean, really overall, this is still Batman's game, I should say that. So Catwoman is more like a special guest star. So I think if you were looking to take down all of the supervillains inside Arkham City, you know, you're looking at over 25 hours of gameplay. So there's a lot of gameplay, and Catwoman's playable probably for around about 10% of that. So it kind of gives you an idea. It's definitely still Batman's game, but you're going to have a lot of fun playing as Catwoman as well.
And have you ever thought of including a co-op mode where Batman and Catwoman work together?
Yeah, we did talk about, very early on we talked about co-op, but we kind of felt that, you know, with the expanded vision of Arkham City, we really wanted to do that justice. So we really wanted to create something special with this incredible attention to detail. And we thought if we're going to do that, we need to focus on delivering that element. You know, like, players aren't going to want a sort of, not so great city and a not so great co-op mode. You know, they're going to want something that's awesome. That's kind of always our job. Always what we want to do is to create, you know, something that's really good fun, great fun, and really authentic to who Batman is. So we decided we wanted to focus on creating Arkham City. So there is no co-op mode in the game, but I think that you're going to love what is in the game.
And do you think the story ends here, or is there something else we can look forward to?
I mean, with Batman, there's always more stories to tell, right? He's such a great character, so... but there's some great moments in this story. You know, what happens next, I don't know yet. I really don't. You know, we're so busy working on finishing this game. But, you know, the great thing about Batman is he has this fantastic rogues gallery, so many awesome supervillains that, you know, we're never going to be short of stories to tell.
The new one, the new game looks very dark, or darker as the first one. What would you say, does this game target a different audience?
No, I don't think so. I mean, our audience is always, you know, fans of Batman and people who enjoy great action-adventure games. You know, like I say, our two kind of main watchwords are we're trying to create a game that's really authentic to Batman and who he is. We're never going to bend who Batman is to change the game. You know, like, we're going to make a game that really revels in and is like our love letter to Batman and who he is. So, you know, that's the first thing. And the second thing is we want to make a fun game, you know, a game that's really just great fun to play. We're a gameplay studio, we're not like a set-piece studio. You know, you're not going to see huge buildings blowing up and things. That's not the thing that we do. You know, what we do is what you do with your hands, what's fun to play. So, you know, authentic and fun, those are the two main things that we're trying to do in the game. And that's definitely carried over from the first game, you know.
And now to our final question. Do you think the game could inspire a new movie?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I think the story's awesome. I really do. You know, we've worked with our own internal story writers, and as well with Paul Dini, who writes, you know, for DC and has written a number of awesome Batman comics, and DC themselves. So I think the story is awesome. I think one of the great things about the story, though, is almost that it could only happen in games, you know, because, you know, you're looking at like a 12 to 16 hour story. It's a big main story. It has loads of twists and turns. And I think that's the great thing about games, is that we can kind of tell stories that no one else can, with a level of interactivity that no one else can. And if you want to jump out of that story and do a bit of a side mission, you want to chase down Zaz, you want to try and find out what Riddler's doing, you can do that when you want. So, you know, you're kind of making your own movie. So we don't really have aspirations to become filmmakers or anything. We think that games are in and of their own right a great storytelling medium.
Yeah, thank you for the interview.
Cool. Thanks very much for your time.
Enjoy the show.
Thank you. And you.